In January, the proscribed Balochistan Liberation Army, or the BLA, launched a wave of coordinated attacks across Balochistan, targeting strategic locations in several parts of the province. Security forces thwarted the attacks and prevented the group from achieving its wider objectives, but something else stood out. Women were among those taking part. Reporting on the attack said 6 women were involved, including 3 female suicide bombers. But this pattern did not start in January. It began with Shari, a primary school teacher from Cage, who carried out a suicide attack on April 26, 2022, targeting Chinese teachers near the Confucius Institute at the University of Karachi. Then there was Sumaya, who carried out a suicide attack targeting a security convoy in Turbat in June 2023. She was a computer science student, and the BLA's Majid Brigade claimed the responsibility for the attack. Her story also shows how personal relationships can overlap with terrorist networks. Sumaya was engaged to Rehan, who had been involved in an earlier attack on workers linked to the Senda copper gold mine project. She was also linked through marriage to the family of senior BLA commander Aslam. And that brings us to the bigger story. The BLA is not simply using women operationally, it is also turning them into symbols. Some of the women recruited into these attacks have come from educated backgrounds, making their stories particularly useful for terrorist propaganda. Videos, social media, and posthumous tributes can then transform a suicide attack into a carefully packaged narrative of sacrifice, identity, and political resistance. But there is another story coming out of Balochistan. For years, Baloch women have been entering education, public service, and professional life alongside men. There are real examples. Pari Gul Tareen, an assistant superintendent of police, Tahira Safdar, the first woman chief justice of Balochistan High Court, and Batul Asadi, who became Quetta first female assistant commissioner. So what does this contrast tell us? A woman does not become a suicide bomber simply because she is educated, because she lives in Balochistan, or because of one social or political grievance. There is another factor. The terrorist network that recruits her shapes her worldview and turns that narrative into violence. Take Sumaya again. Her personal relationships were already connected to people involved in terrorism. And that matters, because radicalization rarely happens in isolation. Terrorist organizations can take identity, personal loss, or political grievances and turn them into a narrative that makes violence appear meaningful. So the next time you see a headline about a woman suicide bomber, look beyond the name. Look at the network behind her. Look at who recruited her. And look at the narrative that turned a person into a weapon.